Hi again. I'm hoping self isolation is going well for everyone. It's been a really sunny and wonderful weather. We've spent all day today spring cleaning, which is why I've changed the setting of where I'm reading the next chapter. Let's just quickly recap. So we're reading Varjak Paw by S.F Said, illustrations by Dave McKean, and we've read two chapters so far, and we found out that Varjak here is the baby of the family, and he lives with a whole family of paws, as they're known, with Elder Paw, who is the grandfather, Mummy Paw, Father Paw, Mother Paw, and the older brother. Yesterday I kept calling him Julian. He's not Julian, he's actually Julius, and other litter brothers that he has. He's always felt a bit left out, not necessarily ignored, but different from the rest of the family, because all the other Mesopotamian blue cats who belong to the Paw family have the silver blue fur, but instead of having amber eyes, have green eyes. And Julius, the older brother, has always teased Varjak about the color of his eyes, and he says he's not really a proper Mesopotamian blue, and his father's always telling Varjak off because his father believes that Varjak doesn't behave like a proper blue. So there's that conflict between the father, the older brother, and Varjak Paw. Now, in chapter 2, there was a strange man who came in, and he gave all the paws some fishy, stinky food, according to Varjak, but Mother Paw was very impressed because she thought, that's caviar, that's the most expensive and best food available. But Varjak didn't think much about it because he was wrinkling his nose at it. And all the family has been really impressed because the gentleman, the stranger who's walked into their house, has offered them a toy mouse to play with, and he's given them caviar to eat. So all the Paw family are really impressed by this gentleman, except for two people. Varjak, obviously, who doesn't know what's going on, doesn't trust the gentleman much, but also Elder Paw, who's been very thoughtful ever since he's seen the gentleman and has now suddenly called for a family council. And according to Father Paw, family councils only happen in emergencies. So according to Elder Paw, this is an emergency. Let's see what happens in chapter 3 then. Okay, here's Elder Paw calling the family council, sitting on the important chair because he is the head of the family. There's the little brothers Jerome, Jethro, and Jay playing with the toy mouse. That's the rest of the paws. Aunt Junie, Mother Paw, Father Paw, Julius, probably ready to listen to what Elder Paw has to say. Family council is now in session, declared the Elder Paw, above the hubbub in the front room. Mother, father, and Aunt Junie were whispering to one another, huddled together on a rug so old it had lost its pattern and faded away. Julius and Jasmine, she's the cousin, were sitting behind them, nodding seriously as if they were grown-ups too. Jay, Jethro, and Jerome were fighting over the toy mouse, as we can see, trying to push each other into the flames of the antique fireplace. I wonder what antique means. Have you ever seen an antique in your life? Some might think I am antique because I'm pretty old. At the Elder Paw's words, they all settled down. Varjak was sitting quietly on his own at the back, but his mind was burning. This was his first family council. From the Contessa's red velvet armchair, where he stood, the Elder Paw began to speak. So that's the red velvet chair. The family tales tell us that when our ancestor Jalal came out of Mesopotamia, he wandered the earth for many years before finding a home with the Contessa. Generations of Paws have lived in this house since Jalal's time, but those days may be coming to an end. I believe the Contessa is dead. The older cats gasped. They shot strange looks at one another and shook their heads. A log crackled loudly in the fireplace. The elder Paw waited until it was quiet again to continue. She has seldom left her room of late, only to feed us and tend the fire. Our youngest litter, Varjak, Jay, Jethro, and Jerome, have hardly seen her. They barely even know what she looks like. She would only let that happen if she was ill, very ill. And now this gentleman. What we saw today confirms my fears. The Contessa is gone. Yes, she's probably gone somewhere, said father. I'm sure she'll be back. And in the meantime, her gentleman friend is looking after us. He is not her friend, said the elder Paul. I remember him. That's why he was very thoughtful earlier. He came to this house years ago, before any of you were born. He and the Contessa had a terrible argument. He wanted to take us away, but she wouldn't let him. She threw him out in the end, shouting and screaming. It was silent for a moment. Varjak saw father's eyes glint green in the dark. Glint. Interesting word. There was no light in the room but the crackling, flickering fire. This is absurd, said Aunt Julie. She licked her plump paws confidently. We are purebred Mesopotamian blues, the noblest of cats. Nothing bad can happen to us. It's silly to alarm the kittens like this, Mother said. They're too young and impressionable to understand anything so serious. They'll go and have nightmares now. You see if they don't. That's right. Father arched his back and stood up. I don't understand the problem. The gentleman is feeding us better than the Contessa ever did. But why is he being so nice to us? Said the elder Paul. Fancy food, presents. It's too good to be true. And what about those black cats who gave Varjak a scare? We all know about Varjak and his tales, declared father. No, I see nothing to worry about. I don't believe in those cats. I don't believe the Contessa is dead. I don't believe this is the same gentleman the elder Paul remembers. He must be getting confused in his old age. There was a murmur of agreement around the room. Varjak couldn't stop himself. He had to speak. I saw the men carry something away, he said. It could have been the Contessa's body. Varjak, hissed Mother. That really is too revolting. She turned to the elder Paul. You see what you've done. But it's true, said Varjak. And so are the cats. They're... Shut up, you stupid insect, snarled Julius. We're the only cats in the Contessa's house, and this is grown-up business, not kitten make-believe. Everyone started to shout at once. The flames roared louder and higher in the fireplace. Listen to me, demanded the elder Paul, struggling to regain control. We need to make a plan. If things change in this house, we will have to go outside. Elder Paul, cried Mother. What can you be thinking of? Everyone knows the world outside is full of monsters. At least here we are safe from dogs. But we don't even know what dogs are, said the elder Paul. This house is the only world we know. This house is the only world we need, said Aunt Julie. The Contessa is fine. Everything will go on as before. Listen to me, pleaded the elder Paul. He stepped down off the armchair and into the middle of the room. Who do you think the other cat is? Who do you think is going to stand up against elder Paul's decisions? Father squared up to him. No, you listen to me for a change. His fur bristled. Maybe it's time for someone else to make the decisions in this family. The room was completely still now, except for the raging fire. Shocked at what he was seeing, but unable to look away, Varjak watched the two of them intently. What does that mean? Intently. Watched them intently. So if you go back that one page, that's probably elder Paul. And that's father standing up and saying, you listen to me for a change. And then poor Varjak, the baby of the family, is watching them intently. Oh, Quite an interesting word, isn't it? Intently. Everyone did. Father began to circle the elder paw, wordless and menacing. He bared his teeth. He looked twice as big, twice as fierce as normal. His shadow danced across the elder paw's body in the firelight. He hissed and strode forwards. The elder paw backed away. Suddenly, he looked tired and old, very old, like the threadbare rug on which he stood. I'm just saying we should think. That's enough, blazed Father. This council is over. He turned to face the family. Let's go. There was a rumble of support around the room. Varjak's throat felt dry. He couldn't believe how fast it had happened. One moment, Elder Paw was in charge. The next, it was all over. Purebred Mesopotamian blues, croaked the elder paw. The family of Jalal. Is this what we've sunk to? The council, spat Father, is over. That's the end of chapter 3. Can you believe what just happened? So Father has actually rebelled against Elder Paw, and the rest of the family is on his side. And they've let Elder Paw, the head of the family, stand all alone. No one believes him. Whose side will Varjak take? What would you do in Varjak's paws? Would you side up with the rest of the family and trust the gentleman and just believe that gentleman means good for you? Or would you believe Elder Paw? Because he's seen the gentleman arguing with Contessa. He remembers the argument when Contessa sent the gentleman off, told him to get out, screaming and shouting. But Father Paw believes that it isn't the same gentleman. He thinks this gentleman wants to really care for him, for the families. He's given them caviar, he's given them expensive toys. Then Elder Paw is like, why? What's his motive? What does he want? Should you believe everyone who comes into your life and wants to do good for you? Or is there always something that they want in return? Can people be nice to each other without wanting something in return? Some really important questions to think about there. Elder Paul, lots of experience, lots of wisdom, but no one believes him. Purebred Mesopotamian blues, croaked the elder Paul. The family of Jalal. Is this what we have sunk to? Sunk. Tune in